Thanks for joining us here on 90 News Watch on this Tuesday, October the 19th for a look at your headlines. I'm Chris Bianchi. We'll start things out with a large apartment fire that started downtown Boulder around 3:30 this morning. Now, the fire is out, and fortunately only a few minor injuries from that fire, but as 90 News reporter Jordan Chavez shows, firefighters still on the scene for any potential hotspots that may linger.
Good morning. We are out here continuing to watch the crews as they monitor this fire. They say right now they're really focused on the hot spots that are popping up within this complex, but largely they have this fire knocked down, they say. They actually had it under control about 5:40 this morning. Let me go ahead and step aside so you can see what we are seeing out here. It looks like maybe a few of the emergency vehicles have started to leave the scene, but there's still a very large presence out here this morning. We are seeing Boulder Fire, Boulder Police, and the Red Cross is also out here helping all the evacuees get to a safe place and a warm place because it is also very chilly out here. Now, according to Boulder Fire Rescue, they say that they had about a 5-minute response time this morning. They say that first call came into them about 3:32 and they were able to arrive at about 3:39. Again, they say there's 3 buildings that are really involved in this, and when they first got on scene, they say 2 of those buildings had such intense fire coming out of them that they were actually in what's called defensive fire conditions. That means that the smoke and the fire was so heavy that they didn't actually have the ability to send crews inside. So they say they put all of their efforts into that 3rd building. Now, the crews went inside that 3rd building. They made sure all the units were clear as they continued to fight the fire from those first 2 buildings from the outside. Now, again, they say this fire was under control at about 5:40 this morning, but they still have lots of hot spots that they are working on right now to extinguish. Now, out of all of this, we are told about 83 units in total were impacted by this, but only 2 minor injuries from people who live here were reported. Neither of them were taken to the hospital. We also heard of one report of a short jump from somebody trying to escape. We were told that an ambulance crew, though, was able to catch that person, and they are also safe. So the good news, with as big of this fire was, mostly everybody made it out of here largely unscathed. Crews continue to remain out here trying to extinguish those hot spots throughout this morning. In Boulder, I'm Jordan Chavez, 9 News.
A 14-year-old boy is dead after a van driven by a 15-year-old girl struck and killed that boy yesterday. Aurora police say it happened just before 8 p.m. last night at a parking lot near the Village Green Recreation Center near Mississippi Avenue and South Chambers Road in Aurora. Now, police say that the boy and the girl knew each other, but police have not revealed the boy's name yet. The family of Elijah McClain and the city of Aurora have reached a settlement in principle over the family's lawsuit from last year. The city said in a statement last night that they are prepared to sign the agreement. McClain died on August the 27th of 2019, 5 days after he went into cardiac arrest following a confrontation with Aurora police officers. The FDA is expected to announce this week the approval of the mixing and matching of COVID-19 booster shots. That's also expected to announce the authorization of booster shots for both the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson vaccines as well. Currently, it's only the Pfizer vaccine that has the FDA's emergency use authorization. Allowing mixing and matching could alleviate some of those supply issues and make the task of getting a booster simpler for Americans, and also allow people who may have had adverse reactions to the initial dose try a different shot. Steve Panke is facing charges in the 1984 death of John L. Matthews. On the stand on Monday, it was Panke's ex-wife detailing his behavior in the day after Matthews was killed. Here's 9 News reporter Katie Eastman with more.
In a courtroom on Monday, the side of the story from Steve Panke's ex-wife played out. Angela Hicks married him in 1978. On the stand under oath on Monday, she described a controlling husband, saying Steve made her stop seeing her dad, wouldn't allow her to drive, and forbid any music, TV, or radio in the house.
I was supposed to stay at home.
By 1984, the two had a 5-year-old son. And Angela said Steve's parents wanted them to visit in Big Bear, California. She said Steve told her from the beginning they were never going. But on December 21st, a day after 12-year-old Janelle Matthews went missing from her Greeley home, Angela said Steve told her they were going to California.
I was just shocked.
But when she questioned him about who would take care of their Great Danes, Marble and Butch, the answer didn't make sense.
Steve says, Don't worry about the dogs. The dogs are gone. I said, the dogs are gone? He said, I don't worry about the dogs. I dumped the dogs. Get us ready to go.
She said she never saw the dogs again. Their trip in California was short-lived. And when they drove back on Christmas Day, Angela said Steve told her to turn on the radio.
In my flipping around, came to a portion of a news report that had indicated that a girl had gone missing from Greeley, Colorado. And he wanted to hear that.
That sudden interest continued the whole way back to Greeley. And instead of going home, Angela said they drove to a Safeway and bought every newspaper there with the last of their change.
And he asked me to read him the article about Janelle Matthews from that day's Greeley Tribune and from that day's Denver Post. And I recall him having me read each one at least 3 times.
Katie Eastman, 9 News.
Crunch in the mountains. Summit County and the town of Breckenridge are paying local property owners to take their homes off of Airbnb and VRBO and instead rent them out to local workers. Now, with the housing crunch, the county and the city are trying to convert short-term rentals into longer-term housing solutions. Some of those incentives could pay individual property owners as much as $13,000 over 6 months or $24,000 in a year. There's more details on that and who is eligible over at 9news.com. Now in the mountains and in the weather side of things, well, it's been fairly busy from I-70 on north for your day today. We've seen a little bit in the way of snow, in some cases more than a little bit. Winter weather advisories remain in place for the northern mountains. Meantime, here in Denver, we're staying on the dry side, but it's notably cooler and also a bit cloudier on this Tuesday. Temperatures only going to top out right around 60 degrees with mainly cloudy skies. Could have a spot shower west and north of Denver later on this afternoon. Most of us stay dry, but you'll notice that increased cloud cover. As we get beyond today, we clear things out pretty quickly. We'll start to bounce those temperatures back up on your Wednesday and into your Thursday. Expect highs in the 60s for both Wednesday and Thursday before we're back in the 70s. Gorgeous fall weather on tap for Friday and through the upcoming weekend. Looks like we'll stay dry through that entire stretch as well. And we've only seen about 0.05 of an inch of rain so far this month. That could, if this continues, make this one of the driest Octobers on record here in Denver. And speaking of staying on the dry and warm side, La Nina is here, and that could mean a drier and warmer winter overall for Colorado, at least compared to average. Now, La Nina is the meteorological domino effect that comes from cooler than average sea surface temperatures in the central Pacific Ocean and all the kind of offshoots that leads to. Now, for us here in Colorado, that usually will lead to drier and warmer winters for us here, and especially for the southern half of the state. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has an 83% chance of those La Nina conditions remaining through the winter months. And again, that'll probably be especially favored for southern Colorado. And finally, here on this Tuesday, do not, and I repeat, do not feed pumpkins to wildlife. A viral social media post last week advocated for feeding old or used pumpkins to feed local wildlife. Now, Colorado Parks and Wildlife emphasize don't do that. First of all, it's illegal. Second of all, animals can get used to humans feeding those animals, and then they come back again. That increases the chances for wildlife and human interaction and possible violence in those cases. So again, throw away your pumpkins like normal come early November, or I guess you can make a mean pumpkin pie. That'll do it for your top headlines on this Tuesday, October the 19th, right here on 9 News Watch. I'm Chris Bianchi. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow.